Hello and welcome to Fireplace Stories, brought to you by the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library. I will be reading from the book Stories from the Vinyl Cafe by Stuart McLean. This story was chosen to celebrate Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada, which is being held in Owen Sound, January 26th to 29th. The Jock Strap. Of all the gifts that Morley received last Christmas, nothing gave her more delight, nothing made her laugh out loud with quite the same surprise and secret pleasure, nothing showed more thoughtfulness and understanding, and nothing changed her life. And it did change her life, and how often does that happen? Nothing changed her life like the present Dave and Sam gave her together. "From your boys," read the card. "What's this?" Morley asked, holding the box up, shaking it. "It's from both of us," said Sam. "But what is it?" said Morley. "Don't tell her," said Dave. "Open it," said Sam. "I don't know what this could be," said Morley. "Open it," said Sam. And so she did. She wouldn't have guessed what it was in 1,000 years. She could have stopped unwrapping and started guessing, and she would still be guessing. She would be guessing today, and she wouldn't be close. Morley didn't know such a thing existed. A battery-operated heated seat cushion. "For your hockey games," she said to Sam. "It's perfect." And it was perfect. Morley hated watching Sam play hockey. Hated it. Except that turned out not to be true. It turned out what she hated was the arena. Or, more to the point, the arena benches. Slabs of concrete so cold a woman could freeze to death, or worse. "I love this," she said. "Who has batteries?" She sat on it during supper. "I do love this," she said. "You have to try this. This is wonderful." She took it to bed and put it down by her feet. "I love my cushion," she said. She took it to work. "This is my new friend," she said. "Everyone should have one of these." Morley found many uses for her cushion, hugging it while she watched the news on television, propping it beside her while she read. It felt good having it around, reassuring, comfortable, warm. "Sort of like a husband," she told her friend Ruth, "only more so." Nice, but not what she would call life-changing. It wasn't until hockey began, again in January, that the cushion changed Morley's life. Halfway through the game, she turned to Dave and smiled. "Did I mention how much I love my cushion?" The cushion became a thing. It followed her around the house like a child's favorite toy, lying on the stairs, on the couch, on a chair in the kitchen. It made her feel good, and it turned her into a hockey fan, surprised to find herself at the arena every Saturday. "Not a real fan," she would explain earnestly, "but hockey is great fun when it is played by children. It doesn't happen so fast. You can see the puck. You have time to think about what's happening." The game was still a mystery, but it wasn't still mysterious or cold. Morley didn't miss another game all year. And this year, when the notice came home announcing hockey was getting serious, that Sam had to have complete equipment, Morley said, "I'll look after it." She had been accumulating things since the fall. On Wednesday night, she laid them out on the kitchen table. The blue pants looked too large for her son. One of the thigh pads was missing, but she thought she could cut one out of cardboard. She looked at her list and ticked off pants. The skates, she figured, would hold up another year. She ticked off skates. Then she ticked off elbow pads. She had bought them from the lady across the street. The shin guards came from a church sale. The kids had worn them on their shoulders for 2 years now for dress-up. Sally said she thought she had a helmet that would fit Sam and had promised to bring it to the rink. Morley ticked off shin guards and put a question mark beside helmet. She stuffed everything into 2 plastic bags propped them by the door, and went upstairs. This is a father's job, she thought to herself as they drove to the rink the next morning. Bruce had phoned in sick, and Dave had gone to open the store. Sam was alone in the back seat, holding his stick. They weren't talking. They had a fight after breakfast because Sam wanted to get dressed at home. The only thing he had said in the last 30 minutes was that they were going to be late. The second time he said it, Morley told him to get into the car. Now she was regretting yelling. Why did they have to fight before his first game of hockey? Is this what he would remember? In the dressing room, Sam slumped on the bench and Morley stared at the two bags. For the first time in her life, she had no idea how to dress her son. She didn't know where to begin. The man beside her was lacing his boy into a set of shoulder pads. She didn't have shoulder pads. The list said they were optional. We don't have those, Sam said accusingly. We don't have to, Morley said. You don't have to have them. She started with the pants. Then she was stumped. Do the shin pads, said the man beside her. Then put the socks over. Sam was the last kid on the ice. On Thursday after school, Sam said he needed a jock strap. What for, said Morley. She was frying sausages for dinner and reading a gardening magazine. Everyone has one. I have to. Who has one? She said. Paul, he wore it to school. It's a penis protector. Morley phoned Paul's mother after supper. Friday morning, Morley drove to Canadian Tire. When she got there, she sat in the parking lot. She wasn't sure what to ask for. She knew penis protector couldn't be right, but she wasn't sure about jock strap. She didn't know if it was a word you could use in a Canadian Tire. It might be a little boy word, like fart. She certainly wasn't about to say penis to a man she didn't know. She drove home and phoned Dave. Sam needs a jock strap for hockey, she said. That's your job. Okay, he said, without enthusiasm. Saturday, Morley took Steph to get her hair cut. Dave took Sam to hockey. How was the jock? Morley asked after supper. It didn't fit, said Sam, pointing at his father as if he was a witness in a murder trial. He didn't get the holder. Morley opened her son's equipment bag on Wednesday night and fished out the jock strap. It looked just like the masks painters wear on their faces when they are sanding drywall. It was a size medium. She phoned Paul's mother again. That's just the cup, Maggie explained. There's a holder it slips into, like a garter belt. How could Dave watch all the hockey he watched and not get the holder? The way he hollered during hockey games, you'd think he had at least a rudimentary knowledge of the equipment. How could he sit in front of the television so full of opinions and come home with a cup and no cup holder? Morley felt resentment well up in her as she thought of the Saturday nights she had struggled to get the kids into bed while Dave sank into the couch in front of a hockey game. If he hadn't learned anything, what was the point? Morley went back to Canadian Tire on Thursday night. As she passed through the automatic doors, she realized she still didn't know what the holder was called. She had looked over the equipment list again before she had left home. Jock strap definitely wasn't on it. She had a tick beside everything on the list except shoulder pads. She had double-checked. Shoulder pads were optional. There were 4 aisles of hockey equipment. She spotted the holder on her second pass. They came in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large. All things considered, Morley was surprised to see how small the extra large one was. The package came with a cup identical to the one Dave had bought, plus the elastic belt he had neglected. Morley was holding a medium in her hand when she saw the salesman coming. This is what she was hoping to avoid. For your husband, he asked. My son, said Morley. How old is he? Thank God, thought Morley. She thought he was going to ask how big it was. He's 6, she said. This is too big, said the young man, taking the package from her. You'll need extra, extra small. We're out. Try maybe Eaton's. Morley was smiling when she got back to the car. Athletic support, it had said in big white letters on the red package. It was on her list after all. She had ticked it off. Morley thought she was the athletic support. She got the Jock at the Bay, an extra, extra small athletic support for a 6-year-old boy. He is playing hockey, she said nonchalantly. It's his 2nd year. Sam put it on as soon as she got home. He put it on over his pants, and then before she could stop him, he ran across the street to show Alan. Why not, thought Morley. She watched them from the window. Sam, standing proudly on the front lawn. He looks like a ballet dancer, she thought. Then Alan, kicking him between the legs. Her son laughing. Again, he commanded. He wore the Jock to bed that night, and to school the next day under his jeans. Morley was going to say no, and then she thought, why not? For a week she kept finding it all over the house, on the stairs, on the couch in the TV room, slung over his chair in the kitchen. She felt no compulsion to put it away. She was as pleased with it as he was.